This is Tim Donner with Liberty Nation TV. Well, the firebrand populist Judge Roy Moore has won a landslide victory in the race for the Alabama Republican Senate nomination over the establishment candidate Luther Strange. Joining us to discuss the ramifications of this race is Graham Noble, political correspondent for LibertyNation.com. And Graham, Judge Moore is, to say the least, a controversial figure who was removed once and suspended another time from his position as Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, and he spent just a couple of $1 million gathered in small increments from the people of Alabama in this race compared to the millions which were poured in from outside the state in support of Mr. Strange. What do you think Moore's lopsided victory signals about the political climate as we head towards next year's midterm elections?
Well, Tim, I'm not sure if it signals anything so much as confirms some suspicions that many of us already have. And that is that I believe this race really wasn't about Luther Strange at all to begin with. And Moore has a long and storied political history in the state of Alabama. And also, I think he happens to have been the perfect candidate for the perfect race at the perfect time. He is both pro-Trump, but also a traditional conservative, much champions traditional values. At the same time, he's seen as a guy who is he's not going to go to the Senate, which he almost inevitably will, and be the go along to get along type. He may kick sand in a few people's faces and give people a few headaches in the GOP establishment. So he appeals to the voting population from all of those angles. I mean, he really was. His victory in the primary was inevitable, and I believe his victory in the election in December is almost equally as inevitable.
Graham, I've asked many people this and have not gotten a satisfactory answer. Why do you think President Trump supported the establishment candidate over the populist candidate in this race?
I would say that the answer to that question is no more complicated than gave some token show of support for Luther Strange as almost a personal favor for previous loyalty. I don't believe there is anything more to it than that. Trump doesn't really know more. He has nothing against the guy. Trump had nothing to gain politically from throwing his hat into this race at all. I believe that his support for Strange was nothing more than, you scratched my back, so I'll scratch yours.
Okay, well, Graham, with the left now engaged in a culture war, as evidenced by the spectacle of NFL players refusing to honor the American flag, and Republicans proving their ineptitude again with their failure to pass health care and the molasses-like pace of tax reform, what do voters have to vote for in next year's elections?
Yes, and as for the 2018 midterms, I believe that we're going to see a lot of Roy Moore's winning primaries and possibly even winning Senate seats. I think the GOP establishment, if not necessarily the entire party, is in an awful lot of trouble unless they get their act together. The culture needs to change, and the voters know that.
That's Graham Noble of LibertyNation.com. He's our political correspondent covering things in Washington and throughout the world of politics. I'm Tim Donner, and this is LNTV.